Okay, the lesson I'd like us to take a look at now is how to create our own custom bones for animation on a character. Now these bones aren't to be confused with the bones, the standard bones that 3D Max gives us here in our create systems. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create our own bones out of geometry and out of shapes. But before we do that, I want us to take a quick look at our modifier stack on our character. Now it's very important here just to double check that we have no modifiers open in the stack or any modifiers that may affect the skinning later on. So clearly you can see the symmetry and the FFD here are both still visible within the stack. Now unless you otherwise need them, it would be important at this stage to convert your model to an editable polygon, which will basically collapse the stack and remove these tools. It will keep their effect, but it will remove them from the actual stack itself. If you have mesh smooth in here at the time when you're checking it, out, just remove that yourself by simply hitting delete or remove modifier from stack. Okay. Alright, so the next thing I want to do now is I want just to take a look at the model in the left view. Now what I want to do here is I just want to take a quick look at how the character is shaped. So what I want to do is create a skull, a jaw and 3 neck bones, or 2 or 3 neck bones. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create the shape for the head and the jaw. I'm going to use my create shapes tool and use the line tool. And from the creation method choose initial type, corner, and drag type, corner. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to simply click on the back of the head and start drawing the shape of what I imagine this character's skull might look like. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just get a general kind of shape that will encapsulate the entire head. Okay, now I'm going to do in the front viewport, I'm going to just very quickly move that line beside his head and then add a extrude modifier. Now the extrude modifier will give that line a bit of depth, which is what I want. It'll actually turn it into a solid 3D object. From the amount then, I'm just going to increase the amount here by upping it, so about 64 will do for this. Okay, now I'm going to look again into my left viewport and again create another line tool that's generally within the same kind of shape as the jaw as well. So that'll do there. Okay, I'm just going to maximize that viewport now, the front viewport, and what I want to do now is again simply add another extrude modifier here. Now that's a bit on the wide side, so I'm just going to bring that in slightly and reduce the amount like so. Okay, so I'm happy with the positions of the jaw and the head bones, and what I want to do now is in the top viewport, just get rid of my grid there, I'm going to go back to create geometry, and I'm going to create one small box here. Okay, bring just a small little box, and then I'm just going to place it around where I might imagine the head bone or the neck bone, sorry, to begin. Now I don't necessarily need to have 3. I said earlier on I might use 3, but I'm only going to use 2, I think. And just check in the front view that your neck bone is aligned properly with the rest of the model. So that looks to be about correct there. Okay, so if I hold down shift now and drag up the neck bone, I can see now that I'll get a clone. So I'll clone that neck bone, and overall then if I take a look at all the different bones that I've created, I have 4 of them in total. Okay, so that's fine. I'm just going to hide the character head, hide selected, and I can see now that I have a number of different custom bones made. Okay, what you might like to do now is to name all your different, if you go under the modifier tool, just select here and type in the name that you want for each of the bones. Okay, so go ahead and do that. The next thing I want to do now is I just simply want to adjust the pivot points of my objects. So it's important to get these correct now, otherwise you'll have a lot of trouble later on with them. Okay, let's change the color of that. So if I go to hierarchy, choose effect pivot only, center the pivot point, and I can now position that pivot point for the neck or for the head bone wherever I like. Select the jawbone, center that to object, and again do the exact same thing with that. I'm happy enough with the position of my head and neck bone, or sorry, with my two neck bones, so I don't need to really adjust them at all. Turn off effect pivot only when you're finished. Now the next thing you need to be careful of is the linking. So the way we're going to link this is we're going to link the jaw to the head to the upper neck, and the upper neck to the lower neck. So using my select a link tool, I'm going to link the jaw to the head, click on the head, link it to the upper neck bone, link the upper neck bone to the lower neck bone. Now just be very careful when I rotate the head. You'll notice that the eyes don't move along with the head, so I'm going to select both the eyes, again use my select a link tool and link those to the head bone. Be aware also that the character may have teeth, so link them to the appropriate bone. In this case the upper teeth are linked to the head bone, and then the tongue is going to be linked to the jawbone. Okay, now I'm going to unhide my character, and you can see here that everything, when I move the jawbone, I can see that the tongue moves along with it, and the head also moves along with the jawbone. Hide that again. Just check everything. So everything's working out fine. And the next lesson down we'll go on to is how to attach the bones to the head, which will be done with the skin modifier.